Probably the most common question that I get as a nutritional balancing practitioner, and probably the most difficult to answer, really. And the question is, how long will it take me to heal? And that can be for anything: social anxiety, brain fog, adrenal burnout, eye problems, liver issues, etc., etc. So it's a very broad question, and it is difficult to answer. And I feel that when people ask that question, generally they probably already know the answer, but people are so kind of desperate to heal. They want to ask it and see what response they get. But hopefully this video is going to go through some of the reasons why that's difficult to answer, but also some dialogue on some of the ways that you can understand it, and some hopes and maybe some enlightening things that you wasn't aware of, that by thinking in a particular way can actually help your healing and help you not to worry about how long it will take to heal. Because it's an interesting question and something that I asked myself many, many times while I was healing, while I was doing the nutritional balancing program. So the simple kind of response to that is, it depends really on how ill you are. A lot of people come to me and it seems like they just need a little bit of a patch up, little bit of a directional change, and they're off and running, within a couple of months, 3 months. It's rare that happens, but I've seen it done before. It's getting rarer and rarer where people just need a bit of a tune up, so to speak. But some people come to me, they've been doing various different things for years, and the diet hasn't actually been too bad. So it's much easier. Then you get some people that are like severely debilitated. Maybe they're in a wheelchair, maybe they're in a care home. They've had severe reactions to drugs, whereby their brain just is not functioning properly. They cannot speak well. They cannot move their muscles, they cannot walk, etc. So there's like a really broad spectrum of how ill people are. And sometimes people can appear to be quite well, and they're really sick. I think I was probably one of them. If you looked at me, I probably just looked like any other guy, but underneath, was some serious problems going off. And that's a little bit tricky sometimes when you're kind of speaking to parents, trying to make parents understand the situation, really. Another factor is age. Younger people will heal quicker in general. That's just a fact of today. Children are the quickest. Children just need a few supplements often, and they will off and running. I suppose I was quite lucky in respect, because I started the healing program when I was 21, fairly young, but even younger really would be best. So obviously the older you get, the more the body's degenerated, the more toxins people have, the more traumas people have, the more stuck in culture they are, etc., etc. So obviously it takes longer for them to heal in general. Another factor is how well someone does the program. I've had some clients in the past who are constantly asking, how long is it going to take to heal? How long is it going to take to heal? And then you speak to them about how well they're doing the program, and they're just not doing it very well at all. Some people just don't do the detox protocols, but yet they're, wondering when they're going to fix themselves or whatever. So you need to do the program. You need to follow the advice. You need to stick to it. The quicker you can detox, the quicker you will heal. But then there's another caveat to that, is you got to find a certain balance. You can kind of hit healing so hard that you kind of overwhelm yourself with toxins and stress and trauma release. So it is a bit of a marathon, not a sprint. So in general, it's not a good idea to just dive head first into it, because you can get some shocks to the system, because people don't realise how sick they are and how many toxins they have, and when they start coming out of the body in a big way, and it can get intense. So I've had some people whereby they have had severe reactions, and then I ask them what they're doing. They're doing like 2 hours worth of saunas. They're doing like adding extra water in the enema, and I'm like, no, like, don't do that. You know, there is the saying, too much of the good thing is not good, and you know, you need to stick to the program. 20-minute saunas, 1 or 2 enemas per day. Like, if you're doing more than that, like, you can overwhelm yourself. You know, people taking like 4 or 5 doses of supplements per day. I'm like, what are you doing? Don't do that. You know, there's a certain torque. You know, not TALK. You know, TORQUE, where it's a fine balance. You know, not too rich, not too slow. You know, we're finding that balance in between, and it's important to make sure you're sticking to the program properly. Another thing is, how well do they understand the program? A lot of people just don't understand the logic behind it. They don't understand the dynamics behind it, which is difficult sometimes when you got brain fog or aluminium toxicity or all that kind of stuff. Like, it's difficult to kind of get the essence of the program. It tends to come in time as the body will heal itself and get a little bit more clear-minded. But some people like get it, some people get the program, some people don't understand it too well, so they'll kind of do detrimental things and do things that would go against their healing, which is not wise. Some people have big traumas. You know, some people, you know, you might have 2 people that have lived the exact same life, you know, in terms of the same diet, same kind of lifestyle, same amount of stress, same climate. But one person might have had like a severe childhood trauma, like some sort of beating or whatever, and the other person hasn't, and that they're just carrying around like this big weight on their shoulders in their brain, like a big boulder, and you know, working through trauma is traumatic. It's difficult to do. So, you know, it varies from person to person, and you just can't really give someone a set answer. However, there are some general principles that people need to be aware of that give you some hope, some light, some understanding, and this is the better way to approach the situation. So, in general, people will start to see improvements fairly quick. So I've said in my videos that I took some supplements in the beginning of the program and my brain fog improved. It didn't disappear, it improved a little bit, and that was, to me, that was just the most amazing thing, because I'd been having brain fog for 6 years chronically, and I took some supplements that was recommended in the program, and my brain fog improved a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the same for everyone else, because everyone's different, you know, everyone's biochemical things are different. You know, maybe someone would take supplements and their digestion improves a little bit, or their sense of smell improves, or something like that. So it's all a little bit different, really, depending on the person. But generally, you see improvement, and that's what kept me going on the program. I was seeing little improvements every week, every month. You know, it might take you 2 months to see an improvement, it might take you 6 months to see an improvement, but generally that's unheard of. Usually people will see some sort of change, and even having a detox reaction, for some people it's like, well, at least I know something's working. They can feel that they're detoxing, and that's also a positive. It's a sign that you're moving forwards and healing. So generally what we say in the program, and I made a video about this, the video is called Getting Through the Initial Stages of a Nutritional Balancing Program, the 2-year hump. Generally we say that for the first couple of years on a program, that's when the body is releasing the bulk of toxins and chemicals from the body. And it can be a rocky ride, it can be a bit of a roller coaster, and you got to learn to ride the waves. That's another video I've talked about, learning to ride the waves in nutritional balancing. You know, also check out my other videos we did a podcast called The Difficulties of Healing on the Nutritional Balancing Program. Also, I did a video called When Did I Get My Energy Back? So check all them things out, give you a better understanding of what happens. But in general, for the first couple of years, there's a lot of changes, there's a lot of detoxing, there's a lot of mental, emotional changes, spiritual changes. Friends come and go, relationships change, and you know, it's a big time of healing, but it can be a bit of a swamp to get through. So kind of relates to what I said before, but don't focus on the end game, but try and be grateful for the small changes. Always be grateful, be grateful, be grateful. I often get people email me and they've been on the program 1 or 2 years, and they've got every right to, and I was the same. They're kind of focusing on what the problems that they've still got, and when you say to them, well, let's look at the symptom sheet from the first year, like, look how many symptoms you've got, look how many symptoms you've got now. Yes, you've still got symptoms, but you've got way less symptoms than what you had 2 years ago. Try and be grateful. I know it's difficult in the moment, but an attitude of gratitude is definitely helpful. Read Dr. Wilson's article called An Attitude of Gratitude, and that will help you out a lot. So another thing is, and you only realise this as you embark on a nutritional balancing program and as you go down the line, is the journey takes time. It takes time to restructure your mindset. It takes time to understand this new level of awareness. It takes time to come to terms with the fact that maybe the world isn't what you thought it was. It takes time to understand that certain friends are not in your best interest. It takes time to realise that you might have toxic family members. All this takes time, and it's all part of healing. Imagine waking up one day and you've got no symptoms left. I know maybe you'd find that amazing, but believe me, you would be in for a huge shock, because it would be like putting you on a different planet. Seriously, it would be like putting you on a different planet. You would not know what to do. You'd freak out, because it's difficult to explain, but part of healing is actually changing your mindset, changing the way that you look at life, and that just takes time. The reason why I'm doing these YouTube videos now is because I appreciate what I've been through. I've gone through the experiences. I have empathy for people. I have learnt a lot. I've changed friendships. I've understood relationships. I've understood the need to be out in nature. Like, all these things. Like, if I would have just been fine after a week, I would have probably gone back to drinking, doing drugs. All that. I would have been with the same friends. Blah blah. Like, what would I have achieved? I would have achieved nothing. Do you know what I mean? I would still be doing the same toxic things that got me into the position in the first place. So it takes time, and you got to be patient with that. Another thing that I'll try and get people to realise is try and understand what you're trying to fix here. A lot of people don't appreciate the human body. We take it for granted. The human body is arguably the most complex thing known to man at the moment in the universe. Way more complex than anything you can possibly imagine. Just kind of think about it for a minute. Like, the human body is not a big thing, yet it can feel, it can think, it can smell. It has an immune system better than any medical industry. This immune system is way better than any drug you can possibly imagine. We have eyes better than any camera on earth. We have ears better than any listening equipment. It can regenerate itself, it grows, it develops, it evolves, it can experience love, it can experience anger and truth, and it can pick up on vibrations. Like, it is so complex, and you're trying to fix that. Do you know what I mean? It's not like going into a car garage and just replacing an exhaust. Like, you're fixing something so complex, but at the same time it has to live itself. It's like trying to, I make an analogy. It's not even a great analogy, but it's like living in a mansion, and the mansion's just falling to pieces, but you've still got to live inside of it, and you got to find time to fix it. And you could also make the analogy or make the differentiation, like the amount of cells in your body and the amount of atoms, etc. You're talking like the same amount of planets in like a galaxy or a solar, or even the universe. So imagine every cell and atom is a planet in the universe, and someone turns around to you and says, well, there's millions and billions of planets out there, cells, that are not working right. But if you pull one of them planets out, it's going to affect the whole of the other planets around it. So you've got to be super careful to swap out one planet and put a better planet in there, just like swapping a mineral. It's so complex. Like, you cannot imagine how complex it is. If you could even imagine how complex it is, you'd be shocked. And, the problem is that we live in this kind of quick fix society whereby everything's just quick, and everything just wants a pill to fix them. And it's like, how on earth can a pill fix a human body? It's impossible. You know, it's so incredibly complex that it needs time to heal and rest and have minerals that nature intended it, that God intended it to have. And, you know, we're so used to just, you know, whipping up houses and buying new phones and blah, blah, blah. Like, the pace of life is just massively increased. Like, if you go and spend a week out in nature and you just come down to nature's time, and life just becomes more natural and normal and flowing, and you realise that we just live in this consumeristic, materialistic, you know, success-driven, whatever that word means, money-making machine, and we get sucked into that and realise that that's not what life's all about. You need to get back into nature's rhythm, realise what you're healing, and love it when you realise that that what you have is so precious, like so precious and so complex. Give it the time, give it the space. Stop trying to compare yourself to other people. Stop trying to, you know, be rich or whatever, or do this, do that. Like, it's not about that. It's just about just realising that, you know, we're here to love one another. We're here to just relax, help one another, and we're trying to fix something here that's like incredibly, incredibly beautiful. So just give it the respect it needs, and that's one good way of looking at it. And this kind of moves on to the next point is forget cultural norms. Culture is not your friend. Culture tricks you into thinking that you need to be this successful person. It tricks you into thinking that you need to wear this makeup, or you need to wear these clothes, or you need to treat women this way, or you need to treat men this way. You need to watch TV, you need to buy this shampoo, you need to buy this chocolate. You know, we're bombarded by this culture of selling, this culture of consumerism, materialism. Step away from that. Switch off the news. I mean, you know, keep up to date with current events, but, you know, turn off the news. Stop listening to your boss at work, you know. Stop listening to friends and family. Like, a lot of them just don't understand any of this, you know. Get out in nature. Find friends that also appreciate health and healing and the need for a good, healthy work-life balance, you know. I've turned my back on culture, not in a bad sense, but I don't live to cultural norms anymore. I don't go to work and do a 9-to-5 job sat behind an office on a computer working for someone who doesn't really care about me. You know, I don't watch TV. You know, I'd rather spend my time out in the woods rather than in the city centre. You know, I go into a supermarket now and I don't even look at most of the products in there. I'll go in there to buy maybe a bottle of water. You know, that's probably it. You know, look, maybe I'm in a shop that sells some organic stuff, and maybe things are a little bit better. You know, question everything. Question what you wear. Question how you decorate your room. You know, are you living to your authentic self, or are you worried about what other people think? You know, forget this quick fix mindset. You know, the journey is within. You know, seek the kingdom of heaven is of within. The journey is in the mind, you know, not out there. So, and for the final point, don't think that there's an end game to this journey that you're on. Healing never finishes. Trust me. I was in a position where I thought, if I just got my brain fog fixed, I'll be okay. If I just got my derealization fixed, I'll be okay. Yeah, life gets much better when you've got no brain fog, when you've got no derealization, when you've got no skin conditions. Life improves, but you are not healed, quote unquote. You are not healed. Forget the word healing. This is another problem we have. You know, the English language doesn't suit us very well. Forget the word healing and swap it for development. There's this truth to the world where we're meant to heal and develop and mature and learn how to love and learn how to respect and learn how to forgive people and become lighter, become a more energetic being, living as a soul, all this kind of stuff. And when I healed my symptoms, then I started to move on to other things. I started to realise that society needed to be healed too. And, you know, I had more spiritual healing to do, and it just keeps going and going and going and going, and that's not a bad thing. It's life starts to turn into a beautiful adventure where you get up every morning and you don't know what the day is you don't know what's gonna happen in the day, but you know it's gonna be good, and you know that there's guidance there to help you, and there's friends around you that support you, and good food on the table, and you know, life becomes an adventure. So hopefully that's give you some inspiration to keep going. You know, question everything, read my videos, watch my videos. They can help you out a lot. You know, be your authentic self, stop comparing yourself to other people, and just keep doing the program, keep moving forwards. It seriously is your best friend. And if you have any questions, please send me an email, lewis@deephealingspace.com. If you'd like to start the program, send me an email too. If you like my questions and you would like to donate to the channel, it's really, really helpful. The link is www.paypal.me/Lewis Rowlands. Alright guys, hope that helps you out, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.